Hello and welcome to Nick's Allotment Diary. It's August and it's now time for a plot tour. Firstly, I'm going to show you the sunflowers. It's a sunny morning today, so there's plenty of bees visiting the sunflowers. That one there is a multi-headed variety, grown from saved seed from last year. These are a variety called Alchemy. These are nice and bright. This smaller growing variety is a variety called Solar Eclipse. It has lots of heads on one plant. Don't know whether you can see there's loads of different flowers. Some of them have started to set seed now, so what I'll be doing will be saving seed for next year. Now this lovely variety is a variety called Red Sun. It's not entirely red, it's a sort of dusky orange colour, but there's lots of flowers on this one as well, so it produces side shoots and produces lots of flowers, so it'll give interest for quite a long period of time. As you can see up here, this bee is very interested in the flower. Over in the bed with the plum tree, I've also got some other sunflowers. So I've got another Red Sun. This one has got some flowers with darker petals, and another Kong there. Cosmos is flowering nicely, quite a few buds as well, so more flowers to come. The leek and onion flowers are more or less finished now, so they'll be starting to produce seed. So I'm going to leave those on and then collect the seed in a few weeks' time. In this bed I've also got some fennel. So this is the Florence fennel, the bulb fennel. This one will produce bulbs towards the autumn time, so they can be used in stews and things. So over to the squash bed. This plant here is the Urchiki curry squash. I did notice one starting to form there, the flower. And also in this bed we have the pink banana squash. Now, I've only seen one. It's not a banana shaped squash, it's a round one. A bit like a pumpkin really. It's a sort of orangey colour at the moment, orangey yellow colour, but it will change to pink. This plant here is the butternut squash. I've only seen this one so far, but there are quite a few flowers, but they tend to be, I've seen quite a lot of male flowers but not many female flowers on this plant. Moving over to this plant, these have what look like mini sort of pumpkin squashes. There are several of them coming, if you can see here. There's another one at the back there. So I grew these from seed that I collected from a supermarket squash from last year, and they had sort of orange and green patterns on the squash, so I should be interested to see if they come like the parent plant. Over to the courgette plant. That's produced loads of yellow courgettes so far, and there's still plenty coming. One thing I have noticed, there is some powdery mildew forming on some of the leaves. The best way to get rid of powdery mildew is to wash the leaves in a weak milk solution, milk and water. If you spray that on the leaves, that's supposed to help reduce the infection. Don't think it'll help with that leaf, I'll just remove that leaf altogether. I'll spray them on any leaves that have got a minor amount of powdery mildew. Onto the bed with sweet corn in. Once again, it looks like I've had a visit from the rats. Stripped quite a few of the cobs. And one thing I've noticed this year, there's a lot of flies, and they seem to have been affecting anything that's been damaged. See the flies all over the sweet corn where the plant's been stripped. We do seem to have had a lot of flies this summer. Has anybody else had that problem? Now moving over to the tomatoes. So these are the tomatoes that I thought were weed killer damage, and as you can see they're behaving quite normally now. So I think I was definitely wrong. We have, this is a variety called Yellow Perfection. Few tomatoes coming on that one, and we have the black tomatoes. They're doing really well. As you can see, they're a very deep purpley black colour. They take a long time to ripen, and they're only ripe when the back of them changes from this green colour to a sort of orangey red. So don't harvest black tomatoes too soon, otherwise you'll taste them and think they taste awful. And then we have another red tomato. Can't remember which variety that one is. The label's worn away, but I'll have to check back to see which one it is. Now in this cage I've got some more tomatoes. These are the supermarket tomatoes. These were the Piccolo cherry tomatoes. Now I've let it sort of produce as like a bush, so it's got lots of side shoots. So hopefully, if I don't get affected by blight, I should get some tomatoes on these. Next to this bush, been shaded a bit so it's not done as well. This is a Crimson Crush tomato, starting to produce fruit now. Also some orange pepper plants. They are starting to produce flowers. So hopefully, before it gets too cold, I might get a few orange peppers. Now in the bed that I had onions, I've now got dwarf French beans, some parsnips, bit of a patchy row parsnip. So what I've done is I've just planted a few more seed in between the plants that are okay, and we'll see if we get any parsnip plants. I think I'm a little bit late for those, but you never know. I've also planted a couple of rows of carrots. I never have any luck with carrots, so I've planted two different varieties, a variety called Eskimo and a variety called Autumn King. And over here I've planted a row of Savoy cabbage and purple sprouting broccoli, which I'm protecting with netting to keep the pigeons off. Little bit of an update on fruit. So this apple tree has done really well. So this is a James Grieve apple, and I have thinned the apples, and there are quite a lot of them. So hopefully I should get some decent apples to have in the autumn. I've also managed to get a few pears on my pear tree. So this is a column pear tree. It's only a few years old, and there are about 6 or 7 pears on the tree. so I'm hoping that I get to those before the birds get to them when they're ripe. Now the other apple tree has not done as well, and if you look at some of these apples, they've sort of got scaly, scabby patches on them. Anybody that knows much about apples, if they could let me know what they think that is. Whether you can see that, sort of little patches, pits on the skin. What has done well this year are raspberries, some nice juicy raspberries. I'll be picking those later. Some more there. Short update on the fruit cage. Still got some blueberries to harvest. Not many of those left. And in the fruit cage I've also got some blackberries. They're still red and will be ready in a few weeks' time. One of my jobs to do today is to have another go at the bindweed. You can see it started to flower. Don't want it to set seed, so I'll be pulling as much of that out as I can today. In the greenhouse we have some tomatoes. They're starting to ripen. Not had loads of tomatoes off the ones in the greenhouse so far, but there are quite a few to come. I have got some tomato plants at home and they've done better, but still plenty to ripen yet, and we've still got a bit of time. I think I might take the shade netting off now to give them a chance to fully ripen. Chilies are doing well. A few chilies on this plant, and if you look at the one in the air pot under here, there's loads of chilies to come on this plant. Onto the greenhouse bench. This is where I've got the bell peppers. These, as you will have seen, have been affected quite badly by slugs and snails, but there are flowers coming, so I'm hoping some peppers on those a little bit later. This plant at the back has got some of the banana type peppers. They're all sweet peppers, these ones, except for the Apache chili I've got there at the back. And another sweet pepper plant here, loads of flowers. And I did see, yeah, there's a pepper starting to develop. So there are some peppers, another one here. So there are some peppers starting to develop on this plant. Hope you enjoyed that plot tour in August. Thanks very much for joining me at Nick's Allotment. I'll see you again next time.